Hi guys, welcome to Harry's Homekill. I'm Harry and sat next to me is my beautiful partner Noosh. Under the table we've got Bark and Bruno. Today we're attempting a Q&As with all the most asked questions. Bear with us though because this is awkward as fuck.
Right, what is Harry's Homekill?
Harry's Homekill is a UK based mobile slaughter and butchery service for the farmers and smallholders for the livestock owners' private consumption.
What made you become a slaughterman?
Well, initially I became a slaughterman when I was 18 years old. During an unsteady period in my life, I was actually drawn to the career for probably the wrong reasons, which were short-lived, as I soon became fixated on learning and understanding animal behaviours and being able to have an extremely compassionate and empathetic mindset into the process of the meat industry and how much of a vital role as a slaughterman we play towards life and death. Over time, I was determined to somehow figure out how to make the process more humane and caring towards the animal's destined fate.
How can you like animals if you kill them?
In my opinion, you have to have an extremely close connection with animals to be able to honestly and respectfully carry out your duty as a slaughterman. For me, the animals give me great satisfaction and pleasure to be surrounded by such amazing creatures that show us humans nothing but compassion on their part. And I'm sure that a lot of vegan warriors would have their own opinions on that subject.
I've heard you started selling merchandise, is this true?
Yes, although I've had a lot of hate around starting up merchandise, yes, we have started up merchandise selection with the help of my beautiful partner. I'm going to let her explain that side.
Right, so it consists of t-shirts, hoodies and hats. All has the Harry's Homekill logo on. Inspirational quotes on the back. I think we've got a selection of 3.
Yes.
And 10% of each sale is being donated to Andy's Man Club, which is a mental health charity for men that operates all throughout the UK. How does it work?
The service provides farmers and smallholders the unique opportunity to have their livestock slaughtered and processed on site, alleviating the added stresses to the animals when travelling to the abattoir, alongside being mixed with other unknown herds in lairage and being exposed to the scent of death and unknown loud noises which are naturally produced in the abattoir environment.
Why use Harry's Homekill?
There are a few different reasons to use Harry's Homekill service. Firstly, alleviating the stress on livestock is by far the most important reason. Secondly, to help decommercialise, fucking hate that word, decommercialise livestock slaughter. Thirdly, to give farmers and smallholders to fill their freezers without the added pressure of arranging the animal to go to an abattoir for slaughter and then arranging for it to be butchered somewhere else.
Where does Harry's Homekill cover?
Harry's Homekill is happy to cover any area in the UK, providing travel costs are met, meaning that everyone in the livestock trade have the opportunity to use our service.
What are the travel costs?
Our travel costs are 60p per mile, including the return trip back to base. However, this can be split up when other jobs are booked in your area.
Do you charge a return fee?
No, we don't charge a return fee to process your animal on the final butchery stage.
How does the sort process work?
We would arrive on site with our appropriate equipment, including the chiller trailer equipped with meat rails. I would dispatch the animal firstly by stunning with a captive bolt gun. This will render the animal unconscious to allow a humane sticking procedure by sticking the animal, severing the major blood vessels from the heart that circulate the blood throughout the body. Once the animal has bled out and the appropriate time has passed, I will then start the dressing procedure, which includes removal of the skin, hide or pelt, and then eviscerating the carcass ready for hanging in the chiller.
What happens after the carcass is hung in the chiller?
Once the carcass is hung in the chiller and set, the butchery process begins. I would then start breaking down the carcass into the appropriate cuts of meat, bag and label, ready for going into your freezer.
Can livestock be processed without being chilled?
Yes, but only during the winter months when the chiller when it's chillier weather. Harry's Homekill first started off with no trailer, but luckily enough, this was during the winter months where customers would hang carcasses from rafters in barns and store areas located around their farms. It would be impossible to do it in these summer months as it's far too hot and there are far too many flies, as you know.
How much can you fit in your chiller trailer?
So the chiller trailer can fit up to 2 beasts at one time. Alternatively, you can have 10 to 15 lambs in the chiller or 8 to 10 pigs at one time.
How long is the turnaround?
There are 3 possible options on turnaround. Option 1, same day turnaround where slaughter would take place as early in the morning as possible, allowing the carcass to hang in the chiller trailer to drop the body temperature and start processing later on that afternoon. Option 2, 24-hour service, is where the animal is to be slaughtered and dressed and left overnight in the chiller trailer to set and be processed the following day. This would mean, obviously, I would have to camp overnight. Option 3, this is mainly for the beef guys and lasses, as it needs a bit longer to set. We would recommend the carcass being hung for 2 to 3 days before returning to process the carcass. We do offer a week's hanging, but this involves the £50 surcharge, as this would mean that I'm out of work for the week whilst I don't have the chiller. However, cattle can be processed on the 24-hour procedure if necessary.
What do you need from the customer?
Any livestock being processed has got to be penned prior to us arriving. It must be in a clean condition as well. With a suitable area to dress and process the animal, ideally near an electricity point to power the chiller trailer. I will also need access to clean water to keep myself clean and the equipment clean. It is also handy for the customers to provide me with the use of a loadle, tractor or telehandler to lift the carcasses during the dressing and trailer loading process.
How much freezer space does a customer need?
To give you an example, a 650 kilo bull can fit into a 700 litre chest freezer.
And what do you charge?
My price is already readily available on my Facebook page. Prices start from £75 a lamb up to £550 for a beast plus travel costs.
Do you backpack?
No, Harry's Homekill does not offer a VAT packing service. This is because VAT packing not only takes an extremely long time, but also when frozen for a long period, the bags become brittle and perforate, making them no better than the standard freezer bags that you would use.
Can I still have VAT pack?
If a customer is desperately wishing to have their meat VAT packed, this will come at an added cost to the customer. Firstly, for the bags themselves, and then secondly, because of the time that it actually costs me during the day to be processing them with the VAT pack bags.
What happens to byproducts?
All offal and bones need to be arranged by the customer for collection via their local fall and stock collection service. This can then be signed off and disposed of in the appropriate manner, meeting the Cat 1, 2 and 3 disposal requirements to be able to register for an appropriate death certificate with all the right paperwork.
Do you do emergency call-outs?
Yes, Harry's Homekill provide a 24-hour emergency call-out service. In the unfortunate event that there is a priority animal welfare case, it is the law I attend all these call-outs to work alongside the Strict Animal Welfare Regulations Act.
Would the carcass of an emergency dispatch still be okay for human consumption?
Yes, in most cases, the carcass would be okay for human consumption. This may mean that in some cases, damaged parts or unedible parts of the animal may be necessary to have them removed. But you will still have the opportunity to fill your freezer. In some rare cases, I may deem the carcass unfit for human consumption if there are signs of issues such as abscesses and other high-risk diseases that may be apparent.